From the Fans Talk Podcast family at fanstalkpodcast.com, this is episode 34 of Fans Talk TNA. And this week we're going to cover the June 17th, 2015 episode of Impact Wrestling on Destination America, as well as the rest of the news and notes that happened this week. My name is Garvin, and with us as always is Nick. Say hello, Nick.
Hello, hello.
Now, if you enjoy this episode and you want to hear more, you can find us at fanstalktna.com. And if you really like this episode and want to see the series continue, please take a moment, go to patreon.com/fanstalk and drop a few dollars our way. So, Nick, let's go ahead, talk about what happened this week. We're also going to talk a little bit about next week's show, Slammiversary, and a lot of the other stuff that came out this week. There's quite a bit to talk about. I'm hoping we have enough time to fit it all in, but we'll start off with this week. Again, Pope on commentary. This is the third week in a row. Your thoughts? Are you still kind of sour and unsure of the Pope?
Not as much as I have been. I think I'm warming up to him a little bit. It does seem obvious that this is the commentary team moving forward. And yeah, I guess you could definitely do a whole lot worse. But yeah, I think I am optimistic about how this will work out. I think they'll continue to gel, chemistry might improve, and eventually I'll probably dig it a lot more.
Yeah, I was pretty optimistic and positive last week. I thought last week was much better than the first time around. And this week I'm feeling the same way. I feel it was an improvement on what we had saw the week before, and it seems to continue to get better. They're getting that rapport going. They're really getting involved in the matches themselves. So yeah, overall I think this is a good move. I was never a big fan of Pope in the ring. I was more of a fan of him on the mic. So I think this is okay. I think this is an okay move. I'm not sure why he went in this direction. I mean, he is pretty young. So I don't know if this is his retirement, because I haven't really heard anything about him in the Indies. Maybe he's injured. It's kind of hard to tell, but I think this is a good move for him overall.
Agreed.
So, let's talk about some of the individual stories that were pushed this week. As we have been doing over the last few weeks, we're just categorizing these by like title races or big things. So, we'll start off with the X Division. Last week, obviously, there was a lot of stuff in the X Division. This week, nothing.
Yeah.
Are you okay with that?
To a degree, I think it's okay to rotate out some stuff. Like last week, we didn't get any tag team stuff. Obviously, Aries was going after the World Heavyweight title, going in and cashing that in. But yeah, I'm okay with some storylines rotating in and out week to week. So I don't think that's really a problem per se.
Yeah, I'm just hoping it's not the trend that we've been used to before, as far as X Division getting a lot of TV time, like 2-3 weeks in a row, and then nothing for 2-3 weeks. I know there is an X Division championship match next week between Guerrero, Low-Key, and Tigre Uno, but I'm just hoping we don't have these large gaps in between anymore. So we'll see.
Right.
But this is 1 week. It's 1 week. So. Not sure really how to categorize this, but it's basically like your low and mid card guys, the guys that are feuding, but not necessarily for any title. Your active feuds right now: Jesse versus Robbie E, Bram versus TNA's History, Chris Melendez versus EY, and obviously the big one is James Storm versus Magnus. Out of those four main stories that we're getting in this category, what are you most liking right now?
I'm definitely the most entertained by the breakup of the bromance. As much as I wish that team hadn't fallen apart, I'm digging the drama that's come out of it. Jesse is a completely new character right now, and I don't know if this is what he's actually going by or if Pope just really likes the word Adonis, but it fits just the hubris and the arrogance that Jesse's embodying right now. I dig it. And Robbie, he's actually looking credible as a face that can go with somebody as ripped, jacked, and strong as Jesse. And to a lesser extent, I like the work that DJZ has been putting into the matches here. I don't know if he'll continue to figure in now that Robbie's back and those two will go head to head. But yeah, overall, this storyline is really interesting me.
Yeah, I can't imagine DJZ would continue because right now, he's just kind of like a pawn. He's just the in between of these two guys. So I'm hoping they do move away from that. We do know right now that Robbie E versus Jesse is official for Slammiversary. So I really like this as well. Jesse, I think this new character momentum that he has, this drive, this energy is really cool to see, really good to see. Robbie E has this new attitude as he slid in the ring to take out Jesse. I think there's a lot of positive things that can be taken from this, and I'm really hoping this does lead to something big for the two of them, whether that's a shot in the X division or the idea what I've been holding out hope for the last 3-4 months, which is Robbie E going into the world title race. I think overall that this is a good way to start in that direction.
Yeah, it would definitely legitimize Robbie more as a serious character, as a serious wrestler, because obviously he has spent so long as that jokey character. But this would definitely go a great way towards legitimizing him.
Yeah, and he hasn't dropped, the whole bro thing. Like when he climbed up the turnbuckle to yell at Jesse, he did drop the bro line. So it's not a complete change, but it is definitely a move into a more serious direction. But we'll see. We'll see how he comes out at Slammiversary, what his ring gear is like, and see if there's any other changes in that respect.
Yeah, right now, in the rest of the mid-card, the only one that's not really exciting me is Bram. And that's more a matter of presentation, I think. Because when he had his first match against Crimson, I thought that was good. Then Joseph Park comes along, and it's not that I don't like Joseph Park. I do enjoy that character, but that seemed really random to me.
Yeah.
Because we know... even in storyline, it was revealed that Abyss and Joseph Park are the same guy. So it seems weird that he would make an appearance all of a sudden, especially given his role in the Revolution.
Yeah, I mean, there was no trigger for it. Like, the trigger before was that he was beaten up so bad he had like amnesia or something. Something along those lines. And this was just really random and odd. And they didn't try to hide it, like he kept the long hair. He still has the missing teeth, even mentioned it. So it's like, I don't know. It's just odd. It's just odd overall, but I'm glad that he came back. Mm-hmm. I just wish it made sense. But I'm with you. This whole Bram thing, it just lacks something from me. And I don't know if it's, like you said, it's the presentation, but it's just also like his motivation. Like why would he just drop this feud, this anger that he had built up against Magnus? And, it's like, I don't know. It's just like he's been bouncing back and forth between like these really small minor parts in larger feuds. And then this. And it's Crimson, who is a guy that most people didn't care about or care for. Joseph Park, jokey character. Like, why? Why is this necessary to build Bram?
I think you do need to build Bram back up because he was getting his ass handed to him by Magnus pretty consistently. At least towards the end of that angle. So Yeah, Bram does need something to legitimize him, and I have to think that eventually somebody is going to come back permanently and give Bram a run for his money. I have no idea who that person would be. I fully expect Shark Boy to make an appearance before that happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, until we get that serious opponent back, I'm not sure how much I'm going to be able to get into this angle. Like there are only so many times I can watch Bram attack a cameraman and be entertained.
Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah, and I can't even think of who I would want to see come back for this. But right now, it's no-name guys that don't matter.
Bully Ray would be a name
As your story capper.
Yeah,
As the guy that ends this kind of thing. Yeah, I can see Bully Ray, especially because it does seem like there is really no opportunity for him now in WWE.
yeah. I don't know where that went really. It was being heavily rumored, obviously, and all the stars seem to be aligning with everybody on Twitter talking about it, both
Right.
Team 3D, Harper and Rowan, and people in the WWE like Joey Styles. But yeah, I don't know.
All right. Well, we also had the continuation of James Storm versus Magnus. I'm getting kind of tired watching that video package over and over again as far as
Yeah.
James Storm and Mickey James at the train station and in the recording studio, the meeting place. It just, I don't know. It's just a little much as far as like repetition. We need like something else to push this feud, further down the road. And yeah, we did get that a little bit. Magnus was in the ring, called out James Storm. There was a lot of energy there. I'm still interested in that, but I think this is losing momentum because there's just not enough. There's just not enough there.
Yeah, I don't know what the direction for this angle is anymore because at first I thought it was going to be Storm getting Mickey James away from Magnus and into the Revolution. And then she gets pushed on the train tracks. And for a second, when Storm brought quote unquote Donovan out
Yeah.
on the ramp, I thought maybe he was using Donovan as leverage to get Magnus to join the Revolution.
Right.
But he pushes a stroller off the ramp. It's revealed it's just a doll.
Well, he kicked it off the ramp.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. To use the correct terminology, he kicked it off the ramp. And then Magnus just chases Storm backstage.
Yeah.
I don't know what the direction is here.
My fear is they're setting up James Storm to once again fail.
Yeah, that would be incredibly disappointing because Storm hasn't really gotten what you could call a win in this angle. He's gotten, at one point he was getting closer and closer at getting Mickey potentially for himself or for the Revolution, but yeah, that just fell apart. And now, if Storm and Magnus face off, Magnus wins. Yeah, that's just a lose-lose situation for Storm.
Yeah, I just can't see. I just can't see James Storm coming out on top of this. Just the way that they turned this. Like you said, you thought Mickey James was going to be a part of it. Maybe they were going to use Mickey James to get Magnus involved in the Revolution, but now, yeah, it's just let's build this up, and then Magnus is going to get over on James Storm. Like I just unless we see something new happen in the next week or two, that's exactly where it seems they're going to go. And I really hope that's not the case. I hope they do swerve us a little and do something interesting with this, because right now it just feel pretty lame if that is the end result. All right, so we got a video package for what might be a return or might be a debut of a new character. It's kind of hard to tell. Basically, it was a woman's voice saying, the world is burning for the wicked. Playtime is over. I think I remember the hand of a woman basically grabbing a flame on a candle and putting the candle out, and that was it. It was like maybe a 15-second bit. What do you think about this? Do you think it's a debut of a new character? Do you think it's a return? And what do you want to see of this?
I've had a few thoughts as to who it might be. At first, it was just a name that popped into my head because of all the fire imagery, and that was Taylor Wilde. Because when she left TNA, she went and trained to become a firefighter. But I think that's really a long shot because she is pretty much retired from wrestling. Another name that popped into my head was Havoc, because there was a lot of imagery, a lot of it said for the Wicked, playtime is over. Havoc does have that move, the Harlot Slayer. All the imagery does seem to kind of line up with that. And I thought of one last name, and I don't know how probable this is, but Taylor Hendricks. She's gone through a lot of reinvention since the last time we saw her in TNA. She's adopted this sort of, I don't know how into comics you've kept up with, but she's adopted this sort of Dark Phoenix persona, and like she incorporates a lot of that into like her promo pictures, at least. So I don't know if she would bring a lot of that to TNA, but Taylor Hendricks right now looks pretty good in the ring. So yeah, I would definitely like it if that was her coming back.
I would be okay with Taylor Hendricks, just because we really didn't get a good look at her last time around. I think she was only in a few matches.
Yeah, she didn't spend long here.
Yeah, Havoc. While I like the idea of Havoc returning to TNA, I think it's cool. I just can't see like this. This to me implied that it's a face going after the Wicked, and Havoc was definitely Wicked. Havoc was definitely, your brutal heel that was just trying to destroy the roster. So,
well, then so was Kong until she came back.
True.
I do think that it would be kind of overkill to have Havoc playing the face here. Like, the Dollhouse are really the only heels in the Knockouts division, barring Angelina and Madison. And having, like, all the quote-unquote monsters on one side, on the face side, that would seem like a little bit of overkill, but...
Definitely overkill. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know who I would want it to be. I'm not really familiar enough with the indies to throw any names out there. But honestly, I just can't think of who else I would want to put in that role.
Yeah, I can't really think of any other indie names that really fit this sort of promo, unless they undergo some sort of radical reinvention for this role.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't know.
We are looking at this as a knockout, though.
Yes.
Do you think it's possible that it's not? That this is just the manager of a of a male wrestler, or maybe just a voice actor? I mean, just thinking back to not necessarily what TNA has done in the past, but what wrestling has done in the past, specifically WWE, where they would have, kids talking and kids in the videos that was going to have Chris Jericho come back. It's quite possible that they might go that route to hide, a return of a male wrestler or a debut of a new male wrestler.
Yeah, that's entirely possible. I'm still betting on it being a knockout, though, just given the placement of the vignette. And
true.
Like, not just the voice, but like the hand that put out the flame was clearly a woman's hand, so that's where I'm leaning.
Okay. All right, so the real big title feud happening right now is the Wolves versus the Dirty Heels. I think that it was promoted that this week we were going to have the fourth match, but with Aries competing last week against Angle, was not medically cleared to wrestle, so instead we got Rude versus Eddie Edwards. What'd you think about this match?
Great match, plain and simple. I really got into it. I was figuring that the Dirty Heels would win and name the stipulation, just kind of stack the odds against the Wolves and give them that little rub when they wind up winning the series. But yeah, the result and the resulting stipulation kind of confused me, because it's going to be a Full Metal Mayhem match for match number 4, and I don't know how you build up from that for the final match.
Well, we said the same thing, I think. I mean, as far as like how they were handling the round robin tournament, when it was the Hardys versus Team 3D versus the Wolves, as far as like the third match was just so brutal and awesome. How are you going to top that? And then they topped it in the fourth match, and then they topped it in the last match. So I think on one hand, I'm with you. Full Metal Mayhem should be your capper.
Yeah, that's what they did for the round robin, is they built up to that.
So what is worse, I guess? Like, as far as just the durability of these wrestlers, what is a worse match than a Full Metal Mayhem?
For a tag team match, I don't know. Cage match, maybe?
I don't know. I guess we'll find out. But I'm with you. This was an odd choice. Tables, ladders, and chairs, or a ladder match, or something like that. I think would have been better suited, or maybe not. Maybe the last match is a ladder match. It is.
That would be a little bit of a letdown.
Yes. Well, if it's a TLC match, I think that's a little bit better because there's other stuff involved. But yes, overall, I don't know. I don't know where you go from here.
Possibly Ultimate X.
I feel like we've gotten that too much this year already. I think if we had an Ultimate X match, that's your third time this year.
Yeah, but I don't think that's really stopped TNA, because
true.
I mean, we're getting another Full Metal Mayhem match.
True. So let me throw this out to you before we talk about the world title race. Slammiversary is coming up at the end of the month, so we're going to be previewing it on. I don't know how we're going to do this, because we usually recap the week before, so maybe there'll be a special episode of Fans Talk TNA. We'll have to figure that one out. But Slammiversary, we're going to preview it next week, regardless, whenever it is. But one match that they just brought back from the grave, King of the Mountain returns.
Mm-hmm.
As it stands right now, there is no world title match on Slammiversary. While it's possible you could see the King of the Mountain being for the X Division title, just because if you look at the rules, it's 5 competitors, yada, yada, yada. But what if the King of the Mountain is actually for the tag team titles with these two teams? Do you think, looking at these rules, that these rules could apply to a tag team match? So let's read these rules just so everyone's on the same page. The match and this is from ImpactWrestling.com. They have got it listed as the match consists of 5 competitors who begin ineligible to win. In order to become eligible, one must score a submission or pinfall where falls count anywhere. Once eligible, the competitor must retrieve the belt from the official, while the person who was pinned or submitted must spend 2 minutes inside of a penalty box style cage. Multiple competitors can be locked in the penalty box, resulting in alliances or the fight continuing. Once the belt is in play, any other wrestler who is eligible may steal the belt. If at any point the belt is dropped, it goes back to the official. So, and then also, an eligible competitor hangs the belt on a hook suspended 15 above the ring via a ladder to win the match. This could be a tag team match, right?
I think that's kind of a stretch.
It's TNA.
Just because I don't think that's an excuse. Just because for at least 2 minutes you would have a 2-on-1 handicap match.
Yeah.
And it's simply not believable that you could get a long match like King of the Mountain almost has to be out of just two tag teams going at it. Maybe if you had multiple, but since this is the best of 5 series between just those two teams, I don't think that's workable.
Okay. All right, well, we'll come back to the Slammiversary talk in just a minute. Let's move on to the world title race. EC3 versus Angle. It's official for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship, not at Slammiversary, but instead on the July 1st episode of Impact. The way that they're going to, or at least that they're building this up right now, is that Angle was able to choose EC3's opponent this week. Next week, EC3 is going to be able to choose Angle's opponent. Angle chose Bobby Lashley, so we got EC3 versus Bobby Lashley. It took 3 ref bumps, but EC3 won. What do you think about the match?
The match was good. I do like that Tyrus played a influential role in the decision. The first when Earl Hebner got bumped out of the ring, I rolled my eyes and said again.
Right.
But yeah, when Tyrus started taking out refs, that was a little different for me because Tyrus doesn't get to do anything. He either gets locked in cages or he gets punked out by Anderson or somebody else. So the fact that Tyrus got to do something and got to play a hand in the victory was a nice change of pace for me.
Yeah. I can definitely agree with you there. It is nice seeing Tyrus doing something positive for his story. I think this was the quickest that Earl Hebner has ever gotten up after ref bump.
Probably, yeah.
I mean, it was 3 minutes, but still, that's a short amount of time for Earl Hebner to lay on the ground. I just thought it was so weird, like how quickly he got up after the second ref was thrown out, or the third ref, third ref, because it was Baby Hebner and then Stifler. Stifler got sent out, and then Earl Hebner was right there for the count.
Mm-hmm.
So I do like the result. I don't know if I like the match, but I do like the result because it does continue to add legitimacy to EC3. Yeah, he cheated to win, obviously, but the fact that he beat Lashley, who is one of the longest reigning champions we've had in the last couple of years, I think that's awesome. I think that's, especially against Lashley. I mean, Lashley is a force to be reckoned with, and to have a win over him, just continues to add credence to what EC3 has done in his career so far.
Yeah, I completely agree.
So, all right. So that was this week. Next week, it's going to be a live edition of Impact. We're going to get Angle versus whomever EC3 chooses. We've got the Wolves versus Dirty Heels in a Full Metal Mayhem match. This is match number 4 of the Best of 5 series. And then Grado versus Tigre Uno versus Low Key for the X Division Championship. I think both of us last week predicted Tigre Uno to win. You're still sitting there?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, me too. So, all right, cool. Slammiversary is June 28th, so again, we're going to be previewing it next week at some point. Probably, maybe it'll just be a longer episode. We'll see. We'll see what ends up happening. But Slammiversary, June 28th. Like we talked about, we had the King of the Mountain. It's returning from a 6-year absence. The rules suggest that a title will be on the line, so it's not the world title because we've got EC3 versus Angle the week after. It might be the X Division. Well, it has to be the X Division title. If it's not the Tag Team Championships, it can't be the Knockouts, can it? Because it's King of the Mountain, right?
I think you can change it to Queen of the Mountain technically, but I highly doubt that would be the case because there's just not enough bodies.
Well,
technically, there's enough women in that division, but I wouldn't bet that the Dollhouse would be all in that match. I mean, Gail Kim's out. I don't think you would have Kong climbing a ladder. So I highly doubt that. In fact, I highly doubt it would be for a title at all. I really do think it would be for a number one contendership. And you could just do that with a clipboard.
Yeah. So the next official match that has been put out there is Jesse versus Robbie E. But right now, as it stands, there's no world title match. EC3 versus Angle is going to happen on July 1st. There's no Knockouts title match because Brooke versus Kong versus Taryn Terrell is going to also happen on July 1st. We don't know if there's going to be a tag team title match, but I guess you could expect that you would have the fifth match there. But then again, you'd expect at a pay-per-view, which is a rarity in TNA, that they would have a world title match, which they don't. So, I don't know. What's your thoughts on this real quick? Slammiversary not having a world title match. Is this worth watching without that big title match on it?
I don't think the absence of the world title means that Slammiversary is less worth watching. There is a question of what they will have on the card. Because frankly, I'm surprised they moved the Knockouts title match off. I hadn't seen that.
Well, it's just that it hasn't. Well, yeah, you're right. I mean, it has moved off to July 1st. Plus, the X Division title is on the line this week on Impact. They could have delayed another week to have it on Slammiversary. It's just odd.
Yeah. I don't know why we're having these title matches before and after Slammiversary. That part makes no sense to me whatsoever. The X Division title next week, it's live, and that's rare now, so I can get that. But putting off the other title matches to the show immediately after Slammiversary, that makes no sense to me at all. I do think that done right, you can replace those with good quality matches. Like, we are getting Storm versus I believe we're getting Storm versus Magnus.
It's not official.
I thought it had been, but
there was a card that was posted, and I want to say a lot of people picked it up. Well, the copy and pasters. It was on Wikipedia, and but it also had the world title match happen at Slammiversary, which was not the case. So there's quite a bit of people that are countering that it's going to be official. But yes, if you look at Wikipedia right now, it does list James Storm versus Magnus. Okay.
So if you do have good quality matches along those lines where you have decent feuds going in, like EY versus Chris Melendez, I never thought I would say that I'm looking forward to a Chris Melendez match, but yeah, we didn't touch on it, but this feud is interesting me. Like, EY's going full on Flair, and Melendez is holding his own on the mic. Yeah, I still wish we would get away from he served overseas. He gave up so much for his country. That's not a knock against the man's military service. Obviously, I respect that, but this is wrestling. You need to move on and build up a character apart from that.
I'm trying to remember, his huge like double cliche that he used. It was something about, like 1 foot in the grave and something else. It was something else that was just equally as bad.
I laughed at the 1 foot in the grave. Being literal. All right, I dig it. But yeah, and I think he was aware of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I am absolutely looking forward to a resolution to this feud because it's a legitimate grievance that Melendez has against EY. EY doesn't give a shit about anything that's gone on before, and yeah, it's legitimately interesting to me, and that's nice after the way we got so tired of watching EY go after Angle or EY go after Rude.
Yeah. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into win fail. What is your win of the week?
My win of the week is the ex-bromance drama. That's really going well, I think. I'm into it. I'm into what Jesse's doing. I'm into what Robbie is doing. I'm into what DJZ is doing. But whether he's in a one-off match for the X Division or he's getting the crap kicked out of him by Jesse, I think they're all doing really good work.
Yep, I'm in full agreement. I think that was my favorite part of the show as well. Just the idea that they're getting some spotlight, singles feud. That's great. That's great, and they're both doing very well with it. So hopefully, again, that's a sign of good things to come up. What about your fail? What's your fail of the week?
I don't really have a fail for this week. I thought everything was pretty decent, at least. I'm not too hot on Bram's war against technology and history, so I guess you could count that, but I'm still optimistic about where that's going, so yeah, no real fail for me.
Yeah, I think my fail is probably going to go to the just the handling of the hashtag show your impact. We finally had Drew Galloway back on TV, and it's like a 15-minute video package of hashtag show your impact, which is also your hashtag stand up. I don't get, like, is that working? I don't feel like it's working. I don't see a lot of people in our Twitter feed using it. Obviously, I'm not checking it every day as far as just, a hashtag search, but it just seems weird. And it's such a small, minute, isolated portion of the show. Like, I don't know. I don't know where they're going with it. And why did they just stop the BDC versus, whatever these guys are called, this feud? Like,
the Rising.
The Rising. There we go. Why did that just stop?
I think MVP is getting some backlash because it's not incredibly apparent on Twitter, but you get little hints of it every now and again.
Right.
That he's giving these little passive aggressive tweets. I guess I'll just tweet kayfabe and angle based stuff and just be passive. And I don't know if it's in response to the real life stuff that he's tweeting about, like all the racial violence and the police nonsense, but it does kind of seem like he's still dealing with some heat from above,
right? For
that, thug is just another code for blank.
Right. I could see it. I could definitely see it. And to me, I was under the assumption that something negative was going to happen to him because of that. I think a lot of people kind of doubted it just because of everything that's been going on in the world as of late. But yeah, it was just a little too heavy for me.
Yeah, as much as I did enjoy that promo and how passionate it was, yeah, I could definitely see where the TV execs would not be happy with that.
Yeah.
it is also possible that they're waiting for other things to come through. Like, I don't know how big of a role Homicides was supposed to play in this, but he may not be ready yet. Somebody they might have had in line to join the Rising might not be ready yet, be it health-wise or contractual issues or what have you. It could be any number of things, really.
Yeah, and it's not like the BDC has completely fallen off the off the face of the earth. I mean, Low Key is involved in the X Division championship match. Kenny King competed in that tournament as well. So yeah, I don't know. It's just odd. They were such a huge part of the show for so long, and then now they're just gone.
Yeah.
All right. So final thoughts before we head out.
No, I just hope we have a lot more to look forward to with Slammiversary coming up.
Yeah. Yeah, and we'll have to think about how we want to handle the Slammiversary pre-show. You know, I'm almost thinking we should just do like a double show released on Thursday. That's my thoughts. So we'll recap. So like next week we'll recap the that week's Impact, the live Impact, and then we'll release a second show that's just previewing Slammiversary. Hopefully we have a full card by then. I'd imagine we would.
Mm.
But if we don't have a full card by then maybe we'll delay it until Friday or Saturday. So we'll see.
Do you think we'll get another like exhibition match like the way we got the Von Erichs last year?
Maybe. I could see it. I don't know why you would, though. I mean, I still don't understand exactly what the point was outside of trying to get more local fans to come to the arena to see the Von Erichs wrestle. But
yeah, I think that was really the if not the whole point, then at least the majority of it.
Yeah.
Because at this point, the card is bare.
Yeah. For sure. I mean, it's right now we're only sitting on 2 official matches. Maybe you got Magnus versus James Storm. But yeah, there's no X Division title match scheduled. There's no world title match scheduled. There's no knockouts title match scheduled.
Could be maybe an extension from AAA. Like TNA sent folks down there for the World Cup. Maybe we have an exhibition match from them.
Yeah, I could see it. What's your thought, real quick, what's your thought on bringing in another title for the King of the Mountain match?
It's weird because I think you do have enough people that could contend for it.
Yep.
But I don't know. It's just bringing those people into alignment, not necessarily for as a division, but like the people that aren't being used right now are just so disparate because you got Samuel Shaw, you got Gunner, you got Crazy Steve, you've got I don't know, Manic is technically being used, but yeah, there's enough bodies, but I don't know that you'd really want to distract away from what all is going on right now.
Yeah, for sure. Agreed. All right, cool. Well, I don't really have a final thought outside of just making you aware. If you follow us on Twitter, we did change our handle over the last 24, 48 hours, depending on when you're listening to this. We are now at Fans Talk Podcast, which will really help us cover all of the series that we do with the Fans Talk family of podcasts. So if you followed us at the old handle, you're still following us. That hasn't changed. But if you're looking for us, you can now find us at Fans Talk Podcast. And that's all the time we have for this edition of Fans Talk TNA, but the conversation does not have to stop here. You can join us over on YouTube as we continue the conversation with you. And you can also find us on Twitter, Facebook, Google+, and Instagram. All of those links are over on fanstalktna.com. And again, remember, patreon.com/fanstalk. Every little bit will help. Let's keep these series going and show us your support. For Nick, this is Garvin. We'll see you next week.